Call this meeting to order. Geoff?
Thank you, Mel. First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can probably hear me whether I have a microphone or not, because that's just the nature of my voice. I have a signature saying, and it would be, "Good morning, fellow Realtors."
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Is everybody doing well?
Yes.
What do you see going on in the market?
Improvement.
A little slow. That's interesting. What else do you see?
A lot of probates.
A lot of probates. That's interesting. Your market's a little bit different than mine. My office is in Long Beach. And in Long Beach, we still have a pretty big shortage of inventory. Right now, we have about 2.1 months of inventory. So there's a lot of competition. We're still seeing a lot of multiple offers. But with the interest rate increase that we saw recently, we did see things slow down a little bit. I would be remiss if I did not send you greetings from 2014 President Kevin Brown and 2014 President-elect Chris Kutsky. I am the 2014 and 2015 Treasurer of the California Association of Realtors, which was why, at least one of the reasons, Mel was kind enough to invite me to come and see you today. I have just kind of a general update from C.A.R. on things that are going on. I am this year's 2013's legislative chair, so I want to tell you a little bit about the legislation that's going on. I want to talk to you a little bit about the upcoming expo. And what I want very much to do is to share some really good news with you about Prop 90. Does anybody know that there was a change in Prop 90?
One more county.
We added another county, and it's an important county, Riverside County. Riverside County used to be on the Prop 90 list, but they saw such an influx of people coming from Los Angeles and Orange County that they thought that they were really taking a hit because of that, allowing them to transfer their lower tax base. That has changed effective today. September the 19th. There's a very nice piece on CAR.org about the change. If you're interested in that, you can go to CAR.org and go to the legal tab and go to the 2013 Q&As. In addition to this, you'll find about 20 others that are interesting and worth reading. I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's going on economically in the state. These are the August numbers, which are the most current numbers available from the California Association of Realtors. Volume remains very good. On an annualized basis in August, we closed 434,700 homes. A normal market is considered about 350 to 450,000. So we're just right at the normal range. At the crazy point of the peak of the market in 2004, we were doing about 650,000. And in the tank in 2009, we were doing about 250,000. So volume's very, very good. It's very much consistent with where we were at a year ago, only 1.9% change. And that in part is because we've had less inventory. The big news is the median price. The median price in the state is now $441,330. Anybody want to guess what it was a year ago?
217.
A little bit more than that. It was 348. So median price in the state is up 28.4% over a year ago, which is pretty astounding. Unsold inventory in months. This has crept up a little bit lately, but in August we were at 3.1 months. A year ago we were at 3.2 months. So inventory is about the same as it was a year ago. Median time on market, I think this is astounding. We're down to 28.8 days. That includes the short sale down the street from my house that was on the market 541 days before it sold. But it did sell, so it's factored in. Traditional housing affordability index, at this point, because of the increase in interest rates that we are experiencing, we're down to 36% of the population of the state being able to afford to buy the median priced house. That's down pretty significantly, and it's all based on that interest rate and the climbing median home price. But a year ago, we were at 51%. Back in the olden days, when I started selling real estate and walked in the land of the dinosaurs, we always thought that 19% was the tipping point. So at 36%, we're still in very good shape as far as affordability. 30-year fixed rate mortgage at the end of August was at 4.46%, and that's up from 3.60% a year ago. So that just kind of gives you a little overview of what's going on. I'm still very excited about the Prop 90 thing, except I bought my house in Riverside County in 2007, which isn't going to help me much. Let's see, notice of regulatory actions. C.A.R. sponsors a number of pieces of legislation every year. This year, we sponsored 3 pieces of legislation. One was notice of regulatory actions, which was carried for us by Senator Galgiani. The purpose of that was to get more transparency in government, to force many of the agencies to put their agendas online so that we would have the ability to see them early. C.A.R. tracks the agendas of over 400 commissions and other regulatory agencies to try and keep an eye on what's going on as far as real estate rights, property rights, and what's going to affect us. And having that consolidated or at least easily accessible would have been a great benefit. Unfortunately, it was decided that it would be too expensive to undertake that conversion. So we lost that fight. We did win this one though. The retention of the DRE staff. When the DRE was reorganized into the DRE, as it is today, we had some great concerns that we would lose the enforcement staff, the attorneys and other people that are familiar with real estate issues and have worked exclusively for the Department of Real Estate. So we cut a deal with the governor's office that as long as they wouldn't raid our trust fund and as long as they'd leave the staff in place, that we would support the change to BRE. That we were able to negotiate so it never had to go completely through the legislature, but we do have a memorandum of understanding that that's how it will be and we won't lose those staff members that are actually familiar with our issues. And this was a big one. Debt forgiveness. Many people are affected by short sales. Unfortunately, it's a sad point in the market. The federal government made a decision to forgive the taxation on the debt forgiveness that's involved in a short sale. And that was to expire the end of last year. As part of the fiscal cliff legislation, and we all remember the fiscal cliff, they extended that. So it was extended, but California's was not extended. We carried 2 bills. One was AB 42 and the other was SB 30 to conform California tax law to federal tax law. So if the debt's being forgiven at the federal level, it would also be forgiven at the state level. It's just common sense. Well, there was political mischief. The political mischief was they linked in the Senate, they linked SB 391, which is a transfer tax and something we were very opposed to SB 30, which was our sponsored bill and something we really wanted. Well, we were in a position of either supporting a transfer tax that we were strongly opposed to or killing the hostage and giving up SB 30. Unfortunately, that's pretty much how it's come down. Our poor homeowners, our poor short sale homeowners still don't know whether they will get forgiveness on the debt that's being discharged on a short sale in the state of California, and it won't be considered again now until next year. So I'm very disappointed about that. Some other interesting things that happened, hot issues. AB 1229 had to do with the implementation of inclusionary housing, in other words, rent control in new construction. Now, we've had a law in California since 1994 called Costa-Hawkins that says that there couldn't be rent control imposed on new construction. This bill made it through both houses and is on the governor's desk for signature. We're encouraging the governor to veto the bill, but as it stands right now, it is there for his consideration. One that we did have a win on was AB 1164, which had to do with wage liens on properties. So let's say that an employee of a property management company had a wage dispute. They could actually lien the owner's property until the wage dispute was resolved. We were able to stifle that. It would have created a lot of headaches for many people that didn't actually owe the money. Those are really the important things. I would remind you that we've got a number of issues that are always looming. One of them is the federal mortgage reform, which would be privatizing the GSEs, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're making another run at doing that right now. We're very concerned that if we lose that government sponsorship, that we will no longer have access to 30-year fixed rate mortgages. That when banks loan their own money, that they're not willing to commit the term for that long, that we'd be looking at more like financing on the commercial side, where only maybe a 5 or 10-year fixed term was available, and then it would convert to adjustable. Point of sale mandates, always a big issue for us. Last year alone, we defeated over $20,000 per transaction in point of sale mandates that the seller would have had to pay on every sale. Many of them don't have any rate of return. By the time the seller spent the money to retrofit the windows, as one of the proposals would have had, the windows would have been obsolete. And disintermediation is always a big issue. The MLS mandates, how Zillow's affecting our market, Google, the creation of turbo real estate, all of those things are at play right now and something that we monitor constantly. But they're having an impact on our business. How many of you are seeing instances where your clients are getting perhaps misinformation from one of the big aggregators like Zillow or Trulia, and it's confusing them? They need to be coming to you for that information. You're the experts. You're the ones that they should be hearing from. And hopefully with what we did at the National Association level and beefing up the ability of Realtor.com to deliver information a month or so ago will be of some help. Of course, there's always taxes. They're always thinking of new ways to tax us. Parcel taxes, they're talking about making another run on Prop 13 and splitting the role between residential and commercial property so that commercial property would no longer be subject to Prop 13. My argument against that is many retired people own small commercial properties and rely on that income, so they should have the same protections. Private transfer tax keeps coming back over and over and over again. Have you been affected by private transfer taxes in this area? In the new developments in Moreno Valley, Banning, Beaumont, and that direction, we're seeing a lot of private transfer tax activity where the developers agreeing to a transfer tax every time that property parcel transfers after the first time. So they don't pay it, but every time afterward, and that money goes to different things. In some cases, it actually goes back to the developer. It's quite a racket. The recording tax that I talked about earlier, SB 391, would create a $75 per page recording fee. They're calling it a fee, but when it's not consistent with what the service costs, it's not a fee, it's tax. So that's being bandied around. They thought they'd appease us by excluding sale transactions. It would still affect our clients when they refinance. It would still affect them when there are loan modifications. It would affect them over and over and over again. And of course, service tax. Are continually looking at ways of taxing your commission as a service. So you, in effect, would be paying sales tax on your commission dollars. We've been fighting that for about 4 years now, and we're sure it will come back. And mortgage interest deduction. Mortgage interest deduction is always on the forefront. So that's kind of what's going on legislatively. I know that I covered it pretty quickly. One of the phenomena that we've got going right now is that we have a supermajority in both houses. In both the Assembly, the State Assembly, and the State Senate, the Democrats, and I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican, but the Democrats completely control both houses. They don't have to have any Republican votes to pass anything, even if it requires a 2/3 vote. I don't know about you, but I just think that's inherently bad. There has to be some cooperation. There has to be some ability to look at that. So we're looking at ways that we can try and influence so that there's more balance in Sacramento. We certainly get a lot more done when there's balance there. Now here's the real reason Mel brought me out. He wants me to talk to you about the expo in Long Beach. How many of you are planning on attending the expo in Long Beach next month? Very good. For those of you that didn't put up your hands, I would like to remind you that your association is providing a bus so you can get to the expo all 3 days. It's October the 8th, which is a Tuesday, the 9th, and the 10th. The bus on the 8th leaves at 8:30 in the morning, and it will leave Long Beach at 5:30 in the afternoon. The other 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, the 9th and 10th, it leaves here at 7:30 in the morning and returns from Long Beach at 5:30 in the afternoon. How much does it cost to attend the expo? Exactly. If you're a Realtor, it's free. That's a member benefit, and if you've ever been to an expo, I'm sure many of you have, it's absolutely an incredible experience. Lots of giveaways. Lots of giveaways. Lots of giveaways. This year, we have 3 incredible luncheon speakers. Now, the luncheons do cost money. They're not included as part of the free stuff. But have you ever heard of Barbara Corcoran? Barbara Corcoran is the lady that appears and does the real estate segment on the Today Show, and she also does Shark Tank. She's going to be our speaker on Tuesday at the luncheon. Wednesday, Kenneth Kukier, the author of Big Data, which is a very interesting read, and the data editor of the publication The Economist, is going to be the speaker. And the most important one is Thursday. Leslie Appleton Young will be doing her 2014 economic forecast. Many of you ever been to the economic forecast luncheon? It's amazing. It really is. Leslie does such a good job. Leslie and I now are working very closely together because as the 2014-2015 treasurer, she's my staff person. So her job is to make me look smart all the time. It's a big job too. On another note, I wanted to remind you that the National Association of Realtors is having its expo and convention in San Francisco in November. It's November 8th through 11th. Is it free?
No.
No. Is it further away?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Is your association providing free transportation for you to get there? Okay, that was just wishful thinking. You might want to take advantage of the show in Long Beach. It's going to be great. But if you are interested, and you are interested in the NAR show, you do have a very nice promotional piece that NAR has sent out for you to look at and enjoy it. And in the line of full disclosure, I am on their meeting and convention committee. So, and with that, I guess the only thing I have neglected to do so far are 2 things. One is to acknowledge my friend Lorraine Clark. Lorraine Clark was the chairman of the California Realtor Expo, what, Lorraine, 3 years ago? Was this last year? Oh yeah, see, my mother warned me that as you got older, time would go faster. But did an incredible job. My introduction, my first leadership position in the California Association of Realtors was vice chair of the Expo Advisory a long, long time ago, and then I got to chair, which is what Lorraine did last year. It was a lot of fun and incredible experience. The other person I want to acknowledge is whoever brought the grapes. They are delicious. They are absolutely delicious. I am available for questions, so think of something to talk about. And I'll talk about anything you want. Tom.